Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Grandmaster Chess Speedrun, where we are playing principled and attacking chess with the end goal of beating a chess grandmaster. This game we're up against a 1900, pushing for 2000. This game would be the winner. Let's go for pawn to c5. We're going to mix things up with the Sicilian. We've been playing a lot of e5 lately, which is just symmetry, but I do really like the Sicilian, and I don't think it's that hard to pick up, so we're going to go for it. Knight 6. Do the worst position thing. I don't really think that would work against 2000s, depending on how bad the position is. I think I'd probably just lose, so we're not going to do that. Okay, so e5 is a bit of an interesting move here. They're moving forward, which means that they're already getting pressured by the knight. I think that we can just go for this g6 and bishop g7 to apply extra pressure to this pawn here. And yeah, d5 makes a lot of sense, but now that their knight is going to move away, our bishop on g7 is going to be adding much more pressure to this pawn in the middle. And even, in fact, we would have this access to queen a5. And hold on a second. Bishop to b5 just came running in, and they've already blundered. Queen a5. Queen a5 check just picks up the bishop. There's no knight c3. Yeah, so his pawn c3 comes here, and bishop to b5. The queen is just capturing here, and they can't even castle. So this game is effectively over. We're just going to go bishop g7, continue to improve the position like this, and then maybe go d6. Could also go for knight to h6, knight to f5 to go over here. I was expecting knight c3, but we can simply play queen to a6 and maintain this control of the diagonal so that the opponent cannot castle. And then we just go knight h6, we can go d6, and everything looks pretty good. Just tell him to resign? I'm not going to do that, that's rude. Okay, knight h6 could run into d5, potentially. And the point is that this guy's overworked, so we can't capture the pawn in the center, which is kind of interesting. So I think I'm just going to go for d6 here with this pawn. And after the exchange, maybe I put my knight here instead. I'm noticing, though, that there is actually this move, knight to d5, which is kind of annoying, actually. I've messed this up a little bit, guys. I've messed this up a little bit. Wow, knight d5. And somehow I don't really have any control. Maybe I should have gone for e6, but then there's knight b5, knight d6. This is very weird. King d1, I'm running into this as well. Wow. This is very awkward. And I don't have queen a5. My queen should really be on d8. The queen is terribly placed here. I guess I can put my king on d7, even though it looks pretty dumb. That way, at least knight g5 doesn't come with the tempo. Thanks for accepting your worst position request. Yeah, no problem, my guy. Okay, let's play this. And on knight g5, I can go knight h6, I guess. But this is super awkward. I'm not happy at all with this. I guess I can go bishop to e6 here. I need to kick out this knight, and then somehow, I guess they're going to have their king in the middle as well, right? Because their king can't castle short, so it's not going to be so bad. It's not going to be quite so bad. Okay, let's go bishop e6. Yep, attack the knight. Okay, here I think I should be mostly out of the woods now. I think I can take this, like this, and then I can move my king back to e8 and the rook over to the d file. And should be mostly safe. That did get a little scary though. Take like this, and I should be okay. Just have to move the king back to safety. Okay, we should be totally fine. I got a little bit stressed, to be honest. It was a scary position, but I think there's absolutely nothing here. We've got these tripled central pawns, which is pretty dodgy. But now the queen's protecting e6, and I can capture here. We're threatening a mate, by the way, on e2. So they kind of have to capture that. And let's take back, and we can re-centralize our queen, get finished development, and bring the rook. And the king will actually be fairly safe in the middle of the board, so we shouldn't have to worry too much. So let's improve the queen's placement like this. Put the queen here, and the queen can go on d5, where it will protect all of our weak pawns quite nicely, and offer the queen trade as well. I mean, finishing development also makes a lot of sense here. Just something like knight f6, and we can go king d7, and then like bring the rook in the c file. Okay, they bring a rook into the game. Let's put the knight in the center on a nice central outpost, disconnecting the queen's access from the e6 pawn, combining up with the rook like this. And these positions are actually quite difficult to play. If you, they're easy to mess up if you don't know what you're doing. But you just have to stay calm and realize that the best thing you can do is try and make sure that your king is safeguarded like this, so there's no way in for them right now. Finish your development with the rooks, like bring the rooks into the game, and then eventually you'll activate your pieces enough that it doesn't necessarily matter that your king is in the center of the board and could be vulnerable. Because you have that extra material, you'll always be ahead in the defense. Do I want my pawn chains on black or white squares? I don't really think that's a something that matters too much. I think the most important thing is that you just keep the pawns and pieces around the king so that they're safe. Okay, let's bring this rook into the game on the c file. So I can play something like knight c3, rook c3. And also bringing the rook into the f file makes a lot of sense. Although I'm also quite happy just with knight c3 and rook c3 like this, and then doubling up on the c file potentially. If I can bring my rook back to escort the pawn from behind, that could be quite nice too. So yeah, let's play knight c3, improving the knight. Crazy and scary position. I don't think this position's not that scary anymore. The position was probably scary back here, allowing this because it was unexpected. But even then, I think black is completely winning here. It would definitely be interesting to look at the analysis more concretely, but I think black was totally fine. Just had to solidify. What's more important at a high level, the opening, middle, or the end game? I would say at the highest level, the opening is very important, but that's because everyone's already got all their other stuff really high quality. But generally speaking, I think starting from the end game and working backwards from there is a good idea as you start to improve. But at the same time, it's also very nice to be able to just get out of the opening and survive, because that can be quite annoying as a newer player if you're just losing every game in the opening. Okay, so now we dominate the e file, the c file, and we can prepare to invade with the two rooks like this, and invade like this, and then eventually we can start applying more pressure. Maybe we can push this pawn like here, and I can invade with the bishop, and it will all crumble at some point with our extra material. Okay, I think we can now push the pawn. This looks safe. If we can get this pawn all the way down here and invade like this, get the bishop protecting it from the side, it should be fine. So let's keep pushing down the board like this. I do realize now I did just allow this, which I think is a blunder by me. Hold on. Do I have takes here, rook to c1? And then, I don't know. I don't know how that would have worked. I think I blundered, guys. I think I blundered, but they didn't see it. That's not good. But let's go d2, so I now should be safe, though. That was a little bit sketchy. I want to put my king here, actually. Do I work with a coach or am I self-taught? I'm 100% self-taught. I mean, I had one lesson with a coach, which wasn't particularly helpful, just so that I could really see how they do it. But, you know, it was interesting, but I don't think it helped me all that much. Okay, do I have rook c1 here? Rook c1. Rook c1 looks like it wins instantly. So you're saying if it was rook d3, queen d3, rook d1. Hold on. What? Rook d3, queen d3, Yeah, rook d1, queen takes queen with check. Oh no, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, that's bad. So here, here, here. What was I meant to do then? Oh no, I have rook d2. I have rook d2, and then queen takes queen, and then takes it, and I'm still up a bishop, so it was fine. This position was not easy. Triple pawns and many weaknesses. Yeah, it wasn't super easy. So this looks like it wins immediately. Let's play it. Rook c1. Okay, that's the resignation. Very nice. Okay, so we played that one at a 91.0 accuracy. They played at 77.1. Definitely was an interesting game there. E5 is just a mistake because it makes the pawn weak and very easy to target. And it turns out that we were actually fine the whole time in the conversion process. They made this simple blunder. We won a piece, and then we were just clearly better. Maybe having the queen on a more active square was ideal. But yeah, apparently this was all fine. Engine doesn't care at all. Engine doesn't care about king safety. It just says, you know, just king in the middle, big deal, which is quite impressive. So yeah, the engine literally did not care one bit about white's play, and it thinks that we played fine. Yeah, even d3, because this was the line where I thought it went a bit wrong. Here, like this, but we have rook to d2, and we're totally fine. I did see this, but somehow I hallucinated and thought that white had won a bunch of material, but white really didn't win anything at all, and we can just like play this here, e5, and it's an pretty easy win for black with an extra piece and an extra pawn, more centralized king. Can't ask for much more than that. So going back to the game, we had d2, rook c1, opponent resigned because this was going to happen pretty much. Something like this. And this endgame is an easy win. We even have a past David in the center of the board. So thanks to everyone who watched this far. If you enjoyed my style of teaching and might be interested in some one-to-one coaching, then do check out the link in the description and send me an email. But other than all of that, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!